Welcome to They Were Both Found Dead, the podcast where the eerie, the unexplained, and the downright chilling take center stage. From ghostly encounters and urban legends to true crime cases that baffle and disturb, we explore the dark corners of the world, sometimes with a sense of humor, sometimes with a sense of dread. So buckle up, because whether it's paranormal or painfully real, the stories we tell all have one thing in common. They didn't end well.
Hello, my name is Adrian.
And I'm Ramsey.
And you're watching They Were Both Found Dead.
Today we're talking about unsolved cases.
Yeah, we have a couple to talk to you about today. I have approximately two.
Approximately,
yeah.
There might be a third one thrown in for fun. I have one really long one that I kind of obsessed over, and I really just I kind of needed to put every detail in. I just did.
Yeah, hers is going to take a while. So I'm going to go first. Then she's going to go and spout out everything she's got to say about that. And then I'll go again.
Spout out, thank you.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, how was your day today?
My day? Ooh. Oh my gosh. I worked all day. I worked from 8 to like 5:45. And today's April Fool's Day.
Were people...
April Fools! Yeah.
Were people pranking you?
Yeah, really bad actually. I'm actually pissed about it.
Coworkers. Employees, not employees. Customers. Why can I not think of that word?
No. If a customer did it for me, I'd be pissed. Even more pissed.
I'm robbing the bank. April Fools. I feel like someone would make that joke somewhere today.
I work at a bank, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's why it's being robbed.
Yeah, a coworker told us that the manager was gonna give us free food, and I was so psyched about it. They let it marinate for like an hour and a half. Like they didn't even tell me like right after that was not true. They let me think about it. They let me like pick what I want to eat. They let me like not take my lunch on time. And then they told me it was a prank. And it wasn't not even them who told me. It was somebody else. And fuck. Ooh.
That's so fucked up.
When I catch ya.
What did you guys decide on getting for lunch?
Dave's Hot Chicken.
Damn. And then you didn't
not
even
sponsored.
Get that? Not sponsored. I wish. Please. I've never had it, but I would. I love it.
Do you like Dave's Hot Chicken?
No, I've literally never had it.
What?
But I would love a sponsor.
You know, most people there, they say that Dave's Hot Chicken is their favorite fast food.
See, I've heard that. I've only ever heard that it's the best thing in the world, or it's like liquid ass. And the only other place I've heard that about was Cane's, so I don't know.
Well, how was your day then? Did anyone prank you?
No one pranked me. Well, you pranked me. I didn't realize it was April Fool's Day, and then he was like, I'm not coming over, and I was like, aw. I'm so sad. I was like already throwing a party.
Oh.
The cats and I were already like, wow, no Adrian! And then he was like, I'm actually coming, and we were like, oh.
Fuck you, Ramsey.
No, other than that, it was a very low-key day. My female cat humped one of my male cats. So that was the first time I'd seen that before. That was fun. I was like, oh, she's a top. Okay. Yeah. New information.
What's their names?
It was Camilla mounting Bear. The bear got mounted.
Yeah.
You might be able to hear them playing, by the way. Anything in the background, it's cats. They're everywhere in this apartment.
They actually are so cute. So I'm going to be talking about the disappearance of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon. Have you ever heard of them?
I've not heard of them by name. I might recognize it as we talk more about it.
Okay. So the mysterious death of Dutch students Kris Kremers, 21-year-old, and 22-year-old Lisanne Froon. After arriving in Panama on March 15, 2014, the two women traveled the country for 2 weeks before settling in Boquete, Chiriquí, where they planned to stay with the host family and begin their volunteer work. However, on April 1st, just days after their arrival in Boquete...
That's today.
Oh my god. I didn't put that together.
There's always a little something to connect us.
That's so weird. So yeah, April 1st. Just days after their arrival in Boquete, they embarked on a hike along the El Pianista Trail. What does pianista mean in Spanish?
I could not tell you.
You know some Spanish, Ramsey?
I don't know what that is.
It's pianist. It's the word... Pianist.
Okay.
But when the two women failed to show up for an appointment with a tour guide the following morning, concerns for their whereabouts began. Their families, having lost contact with them, grew increasingly worried, and by April 6th, both sets of parents had arrived in Panama with law enforcement teams, search dogs, and Dutch detectives to assess and assist in a large-scale search operation.
Damn.
Yeah, a $30,000 reward was offered for information regarding their disappearance. So yeah, it was like a huge thing.
Could you imagine if you went missing when you and Hunter went to like Italy and stuff, like Europe?
That's exactly what I was thinking about. Whenever I had to do this research about unsolved people, that shit scares me. And then I was like, so it makes sense that our parents would be scared of us doing that. I mean, my mom wasn't, but his his mom was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think, yeah. Especially since your family has a lot more international travel under the belt, and you're going to see some member of their family, somewhere they've been before. That's a lot easier. But it is, like, crazy how much, like, it's already hard enough to be a missing person or have a missing person, but to have to be overseas in a whole different country,
I know,
a completely
right?
unfamiliar place.
That actually, like, something happens about that. But on another topic, imagine $30K. Imagine, like, somebody that lives in Guatemala getting $30K. That must be, like, life-changing.
That would be life-changing for me.
Yeah, I know,
right
me
here
too, right?
in
But, like,
Nebraska.
if it's already life-changing to you, imagine over there, yeah.
Literally life-changing.
So the first major breakthrough in the case came on June 14th when a local woman discovered a blue backpack near a riverbank in the remote village of Alto Romero. The bag contained crucial personal belongings, including 2 pairs of sunglasses, $88 in cash, Fran's insurance card, a water bottle, Fran's camera, 2 bras, and the woman's cell phones. So the discovery of the backpack raised immediate questions, like how had it remained in such pristine condition after 10 weeks in the jungle? And who had placed it there? And why was there no other trace of the women nearby?
Had it been there for the full 10 weeks? I think that's...
Yeah, I know, right?
Interesting.
That raises suspicion right there.
Mm-hmm.
Data recovery from their phones gained a grim picture. Around 6 hours into their hike, emergency numbers 112 and 911 had been dialed multiple times, beginning at 4:39 p.m. on April 1st. None of the calls successfully connected due to the poor reception during the hike, you know?
That is such a fucking nightmare.
I know. Imagine getting lost. Also, when I was doing this, I was also thinking about when we went camping. And I see, like, why it would probably be scary to do something like that, too.
I've told Adrian, because he has made fun of me in so many situations, because I'm so scared. And he's like, what's to be scared about? And I'm like, okay, I have a list of so many things to be scared about right now. And I think through doing the research for this podcast, like, this is all subjects that I would just, like, read about before bed and then tell him on, like, over dinner, like, hey, want to hear something horrible?
Yeah.
And now you're doing the research.
I know.
And you're going to be scared.
I know. I feel like I'm not equipped to do this podcast stuff because I'm getting scared, you know? I don't want to keep doing this research. All right.
Red flag. We're making it to episode 5.
None of the calls successfully connected due to the poor reception. The last call attempt was made on April 3rd, 2 days after. By April 4th, Fran's phone battery had died, while Kremers' phone remained intermediately active for several more days, though an incorrect PIN was repeatedly entered, suggesting that someone unfamiliar with the phone was trying to access it.
I wonder if Kramer died first then.
Oh, maybe.
And Fran was trying to get into his phone, like, fuck.
That actually makes sense with what's gonna say. Also, she was lost for like 3 days, and she was I would probably be delirious if I was out there for like 3 days and like without knowing. I probably wouldn't remember I do that already.
Yeah, you lose that part of your brain function at a certain point.
I know. At least they weren't alone. The phone was last turned on at 10:51 a.m. on April 11th before being powered off.
But 10 days later?
Permanently.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Perhaps the most chilling discovery came from Fran's camera. Photos from April 1st suggest that they had adventured beyond the main trail into more treacherous terrain. Then
you gotta be especially if it's an area you're unfamiliar with. Like, not to blame them. No matter what, like, they didn't deserve anything that happened to them. But it's so important to remember, stay on the trail, especially if you aren't familiar with the place.
Yeah. It could have been they just wander off by accident, too.
You gotta pay attention. Again, not blaming them, just PSA.
I know, and plus I did make some research on this trail, and it's not like for beginner hikers. It's like probably an intermediate hike kind of thing. Then between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. on April 8th, 90 distressing flash photographs were taken in near total darkness, deep within the jungle. Like a week later, 90 pictures were taken. Some images depicted what appeared to be
I have heard of this. I've seen these photos.
Yes, I told you.
Horrifying.
Appeared to be a ravine, while others showed strange arrangements of like sticks and plastic bags. But one of them, the most chilling one, is the back of Kremers' head is in one of them. So like it's not, you don't really see like parts of her head or anything. It's just like her hair. And it's
Is she like laying down or is she like walking?
No, you can't even see it. It just looks like her hair, and then it's like black on the rims, you know?
Okay, so I will include what we're just looking at, because we're looking at it and we were conversing, and it looks like there's possibly blood in her hair, and you can kind of see her face. It's like her hair, like, over her face. But yeah, obviously you can see it right here. I don't need to read it.
I thought it was the back of the head, but now there's like some evidence that it could be the front, but the hair is like in front of her face. Wow. Yeah, I never saw it in that. Unless
she has like a tattoo on the back of her neck.
I know, but it looks kind of reddish.
It does look like there's some red in it. That could be his brassiness in the blonde. It could be blood. I don't know. Us white people, we kind of pink sometimes.
White people? Speak for yourself.
I said us white people. I was speaking for myself. I was like, me and her. Jesus.
I see what you're talking about. So, following the discovery of the backpack, search efforts intensified along the banks of the Culebra River, which means snake in Spanish.
That's cool.
Investigators soon found Kremers' denim shorts near the water. Months later, searchers uncovered a pelvis bone and a severed foot still inside a boot. A total of 33 scattered bones were eventually recovered belonging to both the women.
Wow.
DNA testing confirmed their identities. Froon's bones still had some skin attached, while Kremers' bones appeared unnaturally bleached, leading to much speculation about whether natural decomposition or external factors were at play.
I hate to say it, this whole time I really thought one of them was a guy and one of them was a girl. I don't know why I thought that. I see now from the pictures.
Yeah.
The two bras make sense.
Oh, you thought?
I thought there was one guy and one girl.
No. 2 girls.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they were celebrating like Froon's graduation. So they went down to South America to like celebrate, and they were doing like volunteer work at the same time, so so they can like sponsor their trip and all that.
What good
which
people?
Which sucks, I know.
It sucks.
My sister did that.
Bad things happen to good people.
Yeah, my
Your
sister did
that.
Yeah, she did like a 4-country trip to South America where she did like volunteer work as well, so she can like stay without paying.
Yeah.
And she said it was like a cool experience, but
That's cool.
Seeing stuff like this that like freaks me out.
What could have happened?
I know.
I think about that all the time. This show is just me gifting Adrian an anxiety disorder. But I think about that all the time. Like, what could happen? I literally maladaptive daydream, but it's like nightmare scenarios. I don't mean to.
Yeah, I would kill myself if I was in your head, Ramsey.
I had a dream the other night that my dad died, and the dream was me and my sisters. Like, there's a front closet in the front room, like the front hall closet.
Yeah.
And like, it's a really big closet. There's a bunch of stuff in it. The whole dream was just us like going through each thing in it and like finding like the most gut-wrenching thing. Like, I found a bunch of stuff I had made for him for Father's Day when I was little in it.
Oh my God, Ramsey.
I know, and then I woke up crying, and Cody's like, "What was it now?"
A Panamanian forensic expert later stated that under magnification, there were no discernible marks on the bones, suggesting an absence of trauma or interference. However, this only deepened the mystery. Did the women succumb to the jungle's harsh conditions, or was it another creepier explanation?
Outside of any evidence, I would think that they died of natural causes and then were like torn up by animals and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That's probably like the leading thing, but you can't
I don't
leave
like
anything
that photo.
away. Yeah.
That photo really fucks with
After
me.
a week.
After a week.
And plus the backpack was in pristine conditions after 10 weeks. Maybe somebody found them already dead and took this stuff.
Yeah, but why did they leave it then behind? Weeks later.
Yeah.
In the same place.
Yeah, true.
Like, here, take it back.
So the Panamanian authorities faced backlash for their handling of the case. Obviously, they didn't do like a great job. Critiques argue that crucial evidence may have been overlooked or mishandled, preventing a clearer understanding of what truly happened. To this day, there is still no explanation for the deaths of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon.
That's so sad.
Yeah, unsolved.
I'm glad like they're like parts of them were found. I wish they were found together. That's horrific.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that their family like knows to some degree what happened to them.
I know. Yeah. At least there's closure.
Just they're not like maybe they're out there somewhere still.
Yeah, exactly. That's mine.
My case does not have closure. Not even close to it. Not even a little bit. So today I'm talking about the disappearance of Brandon Swanson. Brandon Swanson was born on January 30th, 1989 and would be 36 years old today. However, he unfortunately disappeared at 19 years old and not a trace of him has been seen, like, to this day. He graduated from Marshall High School in Marshall, Minnesota in 2007. After graduating, he spent a year studying wind turbines at the Minnesota West Community and Technical College in the nearby town of Canby.
Huh. Wind turbines?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which, like, we live in the middle of a million wind turbines.
I know, right? When we went to Chicago, we saw, like, a bunch of them, and at night, it looks creepy as hell.
It does, because, like, there's a light, like, there's a ton in these, like, flat-ass fields, and then the light turns on, and then they all turn off. And they all turn on.
I know, right? Yeah. And if you look at it a certain way, they look like kind of eyes, too.
Yeah,
weird.
I can see that. I was imagining
Scary.
like an army of robots coming to get us. It's also, we were talking at the time, it reminds, when I think of wind turbines, I think about that famous photo of The Last Hug, which is the two engineers. Yeah. It's on fire, and yeah.
Yeah, you showed me that. Oof.
That's very sad. Having received the credits he needed, he actually was going to come to Iowa, which we're like right in between Nebraska, Iowa, blah, blah, blah. Coming to Iowa for a technical school to study his wind turbines. He was super passionate in renewable energy. He was known as a good kid, loved to read, research, and was very smart. He got along well with his parents and his two siblings. There's no red flags in the family and him or anything like that. He was just a kid who was super passionate about renewable energy and who cared about the planet. It's another example of, like, bad things happening to good people, which is super great. Love that.
Freaking sucks.
The school year ended on May 13th, 2008. Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis and 4 Minutes by Madonna were the trending songs. The day before the end of the school year, a 7.9 earthquake had hit China, killing 87,000 people.
Oh.
And the first Iron Man movie had hit theaters on May 2nd.
Oh!
Just to kind of give the time period.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Did you go to see the first Iron Man movie in theater?
No, I did not. I was moving back here to United States. No, I was going to Mexico in 2008.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You were like, bye.
Yeah.
Well, good thing you weren't going to China because we were not having a good time.
I didn't even hear about that.
You were pretty young.
Yeah, I was like 7. So.
I don't think you were like, okay, CNN, what's up? So since classes had ended, of course, there were a bunch of parties. Brandon was seen at these parties, and while no one knows exactly how much he drank, he was, like, observed drinking by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But they all agreed that he didn't, like, drink a lot. They don't know how much he drank, but he wasn't drunk. He wasn't, like, pounding them down. He was just, like, walking around talking with a red Solo cup.
Oh, okay. He wasn't, like, swaying and stuff like that.
No,
and
like,
not slurring
literally
his words
not.
or anything.
Again, it was college parties,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think they were, like, making them do tests or anything.
Oh,
or
yeah,
being
true.
super observant. But not a single person was like, maybe he shouldn't have driven. They were all like, he seemed totally fine.
Yeah.
Brandon left Canby for his home in Marshall just after midnight, which is a 30-mile drive, most of which was in the countryside, and it's a 34-minute drive.
Okay, not that bad.
Just before 2 a.m., Brandon's parents, Annette and Brian Swanson, received a call from Brandon that he had driven off the road and into a ditch, and that him and the car were both totally fine, but he was stuck and that he needed help and that he was just outside of Lind. This, to me, we're already weird. We're already in weird territory, and I'll explain why. Now, stick with me here. The thing about this case is that it's pretty, like, the geography is important,
Okay.
so I need to be kind of clear about it, but I promise I'll reiterate when I need to. His college and where he started off in is Canby, which is a straight line to where he lives in Marshall, with 4 towns in between. These are all, like, really small towns. So starting from northwest to southeast, or upper left to bottom right, whatever is easier for you to picture, it's Canby, and again, straight line, Highway 68. Canby, Porter, Taunton, Minneota, Get, and then Marshall.
Oh.
And then past Marshall to the southeast is Lind.
Okay, that's a
so
lot
he
of
was
names.
in Canby. This is where he goes to college.
Okay, can be.
Those 4 extra towns.
Okay.
Where he lives.
Okay.
And then past where he lives, over here is Lind.
Okay.
And he's calling to say when he left the college party to go home, he's calling to tell them that he's outside of Lind.
Oh, that wouldn't make any sense. Then.
Yeah. Why'd you go past home to go home?
Yeah, true.
So already weird, already strange, but whatever. That's where he said he was. So he told his parents that he believed he was outside of Lind. Where he said he was, it was only 45 minutes from Canby. However, he left the party over an hour and a half earlier before he called his parents.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an extra 45 minutes, a little over. Totally, like, where were you? What were you doing? We have no idea. No one knows. And it gets even weirder.
Okay.
So 45 minutes of unaccounted for time. Where he says he is makes no sense. Oh well. His parents go get their truck. They get in, make their way up and down this road that he insists he's on. They're looking tirelessly for his headlights. Like,
Okay.
they can hear him over the phone saying he's flashing them. Like, they can hear the
the
thing
flashing
moving.
of the headlights?
Yeah, and they're flashing their own headlights. They're looking for each other.
I see.
Can't see each other. This whole time they're on the phone. Like, the calls are dropping every so often, but they're on the phone with him. They call him right back, or he calls them back. They can't find him. After a while, Brandon gets pretty frustrated, and he decided that since he could see the lights of the town of Lind, that he would just walk there, and told his dad to pick him up in the parking lot of a familiar bar on the outskirts of Lind. So he was going to take, like, he was going to cut through fields and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
So it was going to take time. So the dad decided that he would go and drop the mom off. So she'd go to sleep because it's like literally after 2:30 at this point. And so the parents are driving back to Marshall.
Do you think he should have left? Do you think you should leave your car in that situation? Or should you?
No, I think this was a bad call.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm
stay in your
surprised
car.
the parents were okay with it. I'm not blaming them at all. I get why the drinking teenager might have been okay with it, but the parents should have been like, no.
No, yeah, that
Fucking
sounds
stop.
creepy, yeah.
But also, they had been looking for him for a while at this point.
Yeah, so
It was like...
options.
Yeah, I don't, honestly, at that point, I might have out of panic, especially since they're familiar with the area, but as of me right now, no, a bad call.
Okay.
And also because I'm such an anxious person, I know about some of the risks, which are theories of what happened to him, but we'll get there. So, the parents are driving home, they're still on the phone with him, he's walking the land, he's like, I can hear water, I'm cutting through fields, I'm going over this fence.
Crazy.
So it was very dark.
Very dark.
And there's another thing obstructing his view, which I'll get into in a moment. It was shortly after 2:30 a.m., 47 minutes into this call, like of back and forth calls, since Brandon had first called his parents. 47 minutes in. While Brian was driving in at home, Brandon abruptly exclaimed, "Oh shit!" And then the line went silent. It's important to note, the line did not go dead. The line went silent. The call was still happening. There was just no noise on the other side. No response, no anything.
No sound at all? Like, not even, like, footsteps or anything?
No, silence. Not water, not anything. Brandon's dad, Brian, had described the "oh shit" as it sounded like Brandon had fallen. When they received no response, they decided to hang up and call Brandon back. What if he had dropped the phone and the light in the ring could help him find it? Was their thought process. So they call him back and the phone rings and rings, but he doesn't pick it up. It goes to voicemail, and it's important to note, it does ring and continues to do so. The phone is not dead. The phone is not destroyed. It is ringing. It's a difference, like when your phone dies or your phone like gets destroyed in water or something. If someone calls you, it's going to go straight to voicemail. It's not going to ring. This was still continuing to ring, just no one was picking it up.
Was mute a thing still on phones?
In 2008, no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they could have silent, if that's possible, but the screen still would have lit up.
Yeah. Okay.
So at 6:30 a.m., Brandon Swanson's parents reported him missing. Unfortunately, when they did, the police department was extremely dismissive. Just like the example you gave, the police department fucked up. Like, the police departments are fucking up constantly. That's one of the things that I think really needs to be, is, and should be accentuated in true crime, is some of them aren't doing their jobs.
Yeah.
And like every once in a while there'll be like a case handled really well, and then people will be like, well, tell us things we don't deserve to know. I'm an online warrior. That doesn't mean that doesn't change all the cases that they fuck up.
I know. It's messed up.
They fucked up so bad, and Nat even recalls an officer specifically telling her that it was, and I quote, Brandon's right to be missing.
What?
It was
Brandon's
his right to be
missing?
He's a college kid. He was probably out partying. You know, it's his right to be missing. He's an adult.
Is that an actual thing? Do we have the right to be missing?
Your mom can't get the police to take you home because you're an adult.
Yeah, but that's not what...
Exactly.
That's not what that was.
That's not what's happening here. Incredibly inappropriate.
Okay.
So Annette and Brian obviously knew something bad had happened to their son and insisted that the Lyons County Sheriff's Office help them, and eventually the office managed to get a hold of Brandon's phone records showing what cell phone towers his phone was pinging off of. Along Highway 68 outside of Taunton, off of a gravel road, was Brandon Swanson's green Lumina. The car was on an incline, partly off the road, undamaged but stuck, with half of the tires not touching the ground.
Oh, I see. So he couldn't move?
Yeah, so he couldn't, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
This is when things get really weird, and they don't stop getting weird after this. So like I said, Brandon's car was found outside of Taunton, not outside of Lind like he had told his parents. His vehicle was 25 miles away from Lind.
Wait, in the map, where's...
So to review real quick, from northwest to southeast, it's a straight shot in the highway from Canby to Porter to Taunton, Minneota, Ghent, and then Marshall. And then Lind is southwest of Marshall.
Oh, I see. So it makes sense where would it be then.
I mean, it was on the way home.
Okay.
That's the only part that makes sense.
Okay.
So he would have had to go through or past all of those cities to get to Lind, which is where he thought he was, even though that was past his home, and he was supposed to be going home. So he was actually much closer to his starting destination. He started in Canby, then there's Porter, and then Taunton. But he was seen leaving the party to go home just after midnight, and he called his parents for help just before 2. So there is over an hour and a half that he was unaccounted for, where he was supposed to be traveling home. However, he was only about 15 to 20 minutes from where he left to where his car was found. So before it was where he thought he was, there was 45 minutes unaccounted for. But now there's over an hour. Where was he?
Are these super small towns?
Really small.
So no camera surveillance or anything like that?
No, especially not in 2008.
Damn.
So super weird. Plus most of it's like those towns when we're driving that you kind of there's a sign pointing to them. And you can kind of just drive past them while driving through them.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's just super weird because now there's a bunch of time he's unaccounted for, and he only drove this far, so why did he think he drove way farther? Especially since he grew up here, he was raised here, he goes to college here, he drives this every single day.
Maybe he was more intoxicated than he thought?
Which is what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
But there's a few reasons I don't agree with that.
This is so weird, yeah.
On the National Registry of Missing Persons, it is listed that Brandon Swanson was 5'5", with brown hair and blue eyes. He was last seen wearing baggy blue jeans, a blue striped polo shirt. This is so, off topic, but when I kind of laughed when I was writing this part down, because when I think of striped shirts, now all I think is your Blue Clues shirt. Adrian has a shirt he loves, but we always make fun of him for looking like the guy from Blue Clues.
Yeah. I took it to Halloween one time to my job, and I wasn't dressing up like anything, and it was just like a normal shirt to me because that's what it was. And then I came to work, and they were like, "Oh, you're dressed like the guy from Blue's Clues." I was like, "No, I'm not. I didn't even notice."
You're just trying to live.
Fucking sucks. I can't wear that shirt.
You should wear it next episode.
Oh yeah, I should. I will.
If we get enough engagement, maybe.
Look at the next episode. That's the shirt I'm talking about.
Okay, I love it. I'm gonna make fun of him for it. Anyways, he was last seen wearing baggy blue jeans, a blue striped polo shirt, a black hooded zip-up front sweatshirt with an emblem on the back, a white Minnesota Twins baseball cap, glasses, and a sterling silver chain. So Brandon was carrying a black Motorola SLVR cell phone, his wallet, and his keys. It also mentions 2 other pieces of information that really stick out and are on my list of what the fuck. The first thing is that they list all 4 doors of the Lumina as open. It has not been confirmed whether or not this means that the doors were wide open or if it just means that they were unlocked, which are 2 wildly different scenarios.
It might be unlocked.
It has been confirmed that the general consensus of most precincts is that unlocked means unlocked and open means physically open. That's kind of just how it's considered in court documents. That's the usual assumption.
Okay.
So I still begging the question because it hasn't been 100% confirmed by the police department for whatever reason. Because people have asked about this many times.
Yeah.
But it's something to keep in mind. So if that were the case and all 4 of his car doors are wide open, what the hell? Why?
Yeah, I don't.
And then on top of that, his glasses were found inside of his vehicle. He was blind in one eye.
Oh.
And his glasses were in his vehicle. What the fuck?
Could he see with the other eye?
I mean, yeah, but you're still blind in one eye. And it's still, his vision in the other eye wasn't perfect either. I am not blind in one eye, but I don't know if you can see how thick my lenses are. And I don't do anything without my glasses. Or contacts or something, because you can't see.
My mom is blind in one eye. She doesn't wear glasses.
Well, he does.
Maybe, the other eye maybe has some, kind of...
Your mom's blind in one eye?
Yeah, she is.
And she just lives...
Yeah, since she was born.
Oh, 100% blind?
Yeah. Can't see nothing.
Oh, okay, so he wasn't 100% blind.
Oh!
He was legally blind, but with glasses, it assisted his vision.
I see.
I just learned your mom lore, so that's fascinating.
Have I never told you that?
No, you've never mentioned that.
I guess it's not really that important.
It's interesting.
It is.
Fun fact. But yeah, the fact that he left his glasses behind is weird.
Okay.
So they have the car. They know he's nowhere near where he thought he was. He had been drinking but wasn't supposed to be drunk. And it appeared that he'd been taking weird back roads instead of the familiar highway that he drove on pretty much every day to get pretty much anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a good time to mention that 2 years earlier, when Brandon was 17, he had received a DUI. Because of this, many people online believe that Brandon was taking the back streets because he had been drinking and wanted to avoid any chance at a police interaction.
Oh.
Fair enough. I understand why people think that, and it's
Yeah.
worth noting. It's I wasn't going to not mention that.
Yeah.
However, I do have 2 caveats to that, which I also want to mention. The first being that even with a DUI on his record, since he was a minor, they are different DUI rules for them than for people like us who are 21 and over. The legal limit for adults is .08, but the legal limit for minors is 0. Nothing. Nothing's legal.
Okay.
So just because he does have a DUI doesn't mean he was driving while totally wasted, which he could have. I don't know. There's not details.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't drink and drive at all, obviously. There is a difference between if he was caught drunk driving and plastered or if he was just driving at a .05 and he's a minor, so that's still illegal. The second caveat is that while those online seem to have pretty much made up their mind that this theory is fact, the local citizens and the police department and Brandon's parents all seem to disagree with the online consensus. What does seem to become a trend in this case is that certain unknown aspects of the case, the online community is no, we know for a fact it's this. And then it's obvious, it's not a fact. You don't know, you're guessing.
Yeah.
And then the locals and the family and the police department will be we don't think it's that for this reason. And then online will be no, it is.
But the dad was talking to him, right?
Yeah, so that's one of the
things.
things.
Did he sound like?
No. They disagree with the theory for a few reasons, and the fact that Brandon didn't drink that much that night and sounded perfectly fine and sober on the phone for the entire 47 minutes talking to your parents.
No, yeah.
They're going to notice if you're oh, I fucking fell. They're going to notice.
He's just seemed fine.
He seemed fine. Plus, he had 47 minutes of sobering up at that point. Well, a lot more. He had
an hour.
2 hours. After the end of the 47 minutes call, an hour and a half or 2.5 hours of sobering up since he left the party.
Damn. Okay.
So he really shouldn't be drunk at this point. And then to the fact that the side roads in the area were extremely dark and winding, and that no one in the area would think those side roads would be safer to take after drinking too much. Like, that's what the locals say. Like, that would be crazy. No one here would do that. But people that haven't been there are like, this is 100% what happened. So I clearly have a bias here.
That's annoying.
So they find the car and they begin searching. Ground searches, search dogs, flyovers, the whole 9 yards. The bloodhounds did end up picking up a 3-mile scent trail, which followed the roads northwest to a abandoned farm, and then along the Yellow Medicine River. The scent trail appeared to have entered the stream. However, they did find the trail again on the other side, and it ultimately ended up ending abruptly at like a road, almost as if he got into a vehicle. It doesn't guarantee that.
No, that wouldn't make sense because the cult.
Well, this could have been after.
Okay, I get what you're talking about.
The Yellow Medicine River wasn't a huge one. At its deepest, parts of the river were 10 feet deep, or 3 meters, but the water had gone down a bit when the searches began. Special gates made for this purpose were installed in the river, and it was searched thoroughly. Deputies also walked riverbanks, horses, and all-terrain vehicles were deployed, and Sheriff Vizensky walked the 2 miles, or 3.2 kilometers, along the Yellow Medicine River every single day for 30 days straight looking for Brandon.
I'm always impressed about search parties. I feel like they do so much.
I always think of a Criminal Minds episode, spoiler alert. So they're looking for, like, these women keep going missing, and they're looking for this one woman who had just gone missing, and they have a search party, and, like, they're feeding the search people soup and stuff, and then they're like, we know the killer will have tried to get closer. They are looking at, like, the volunteer list, and they find the guy, and they find the killer, and they're like, where's Tracy, I think was her name. And he's like, she's in all of you. And then it flashes back to him serving the soup to all the searchers.
Oh my god.
God is in all of us. We need to stop the interview. So is Tracy Lambert.
Why? That's what you think about?
That's what I think about. So if I am ever part of a search party, I am not eating anything they give me.
Freaking disgusting, Ramsey.
You never, like, every time you eat meat, there's a chance there's human in there.
I don't want to think. Why do you give me these fears for no reason?
I told you I'm giving you anxiety.
Yeah, I'm probably done talking to you, Ramsey.
This friendship's actually ending. This is more like frenemies.
This is only business. But when I think about search parties, do you remember when we watched that show, Don't Fuck with Cats?
I love that documentary. Yes, yeah, I do remember that.
That documentary, yeah. Spoiler alert, but like a lot of people like get together or like online kind of thing. It's not really a search party, but it's like a search party online. And all together they find like this person that was
posting fucked up videos.
Yeah, fucked up videos, and yeah, they found him. So that was pretty cool then.
That is like a positive version of online people trying to be investigators. This is a case of a lot of negativity from that, because they're like making these assumptions and just treating these opinions as facts when they're not.
Yeah, when it's not like helping anything at all. Doing all that.
A lot of them even villainize them. Like, there's one I'm not even going to really talk about, where they're like, he owed a bunch of drug people money and stuff, and there's actually no like proof of that.
Yeah.
Other than people being like, I went to visit my aunt's cousin, and she had a friend walk by, and she said I saw Brandon Swanson doing drugs, like shit like that.
Whatever.
And they're posting that like on Reddit. So I mean, come on.
On Reddit, okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a whole Brandon Swanson Reddit. I could be mistaken though.
Don't say Reddit or Discord around young people. You genuinely scare us. Okay? Please. I copied that, by the way. I copied that by somebody.
Putting yourself in the us of young people against me is so fucked up.
Fuck you, Ramsey.
I'm only 26 years old. The ground searches also were good, but it is worth noting that the water searches, like, the river was really fucking searched. Really well.
Was it deep? Was the river deep? Do we know that?
At the deepest point, it was 10 feet. And it had lowered by the time that they were doing searches, but they did like gates and stuff.
Yeah. And
I go into that a little bit more later, but it was really extensive.
Oh, okay. But it is a river too, so moving water.
Yeah, Nothing was found, not Brandon, not his cell phone, not anything that he had on his person. Literally nothing has ever been found. Nothing. In the fall, after all the fields were harvested, more searches were done. The search dogs began hitting for the scent of human remains in previously unsearched fields northwest of Porter, and there were even reports of a specific piece of farm machinery being hit on by the dog and having a scent of human remains on it. But the farmer refused to cooperate in any way, and that they had was not enough for a search warrant.
Suspicious.
And a little suspicious. It was a little suspicious. Like, I'm all about, like, alright. But, like, I find that a little suspicious.
Yeah, we can cooperate, you know?
Yeah.
With finding a person.
Dead child.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully not dead child. Search efforts picked up again in the spring when the snow melted, and this cycle continued well in 2011. Remember, Brandon went missing in May of 2008. In 2010, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension took over as lead of the investigation, and they set up a tip line. 90 leads were reported by 2015, but none of them led anywhere. At this point, more than 120 square miles, or 320 square kilometers, had been searched. In 1982, we're going back a bit, due to a mass panic about missing children, Reagan, vomit, signed into law the Missing Children Act, one of the only good things he ever did. One of the things put into law was that any child reported missing must be investigated immediately. In July of 2009, Brandon's law was put into effect, amending the Missing Children's Act. The amendment changed the wording of the law so that any persons reported missing must be immediately investigated and not just children. It also requires police to determine if the adult is not just missing, but they are in a dangerous situation, and that in missing person cases, nearby police departments must be properly alerted, as the communication between the two counties that Brandon most likely walked through was abysmal. Brandon's law also clarified legally that the leading agency was the one who took the report, and that the police departments were no longer allowed to refuse reports based on initial belief that no criminal activity was involved, the brevity of the interval since the person was last seen, the possibility that the disappearance may have been intentional, or a lack of a relationship with the missing person. While Brandon's law was only in Minnesota, 4 other states have since passed very similar laws. That means only 5 out of 50.
Oh my god.
I don't think we're one of them.
No, definitely not. Nebraska?
So like I said, Brandon Swanson has never been found. No part of him or anything he had on him at the time outside of his vehicle and what was in it were ever found. But his parents still hold out hope, and they actually, to this day, still keep their porch light on at night. Just in case he comes home.
Don't say that.
That's literally so fucking sad. And that's one of the reasons I want to speak about this, because if you somehow know something and you're watching this for some reason, like you had a weird uncle who told you a weird story at some point, or like you were a kid in the area and you found something and didn't say anything, like if you know anything, please just give his parents peace of mind.
Yeah. You should have done it sooner, but you can do it now.
It's true. I mean, okay, that's just reality.
Yeah.
But we're not shaming you. We're imploring.
No, yeah. It could be scary to know these things, but...
That's true. That really feels like a PSA now. Anyone of any crime, if you know
fucking
anything...
better do it. Fucking better do it.
If you know anything about any crime, you better go, like, tell someone.
It's the cat.
It's a key cat.
It's Hamish.
Hamish. Before we go into theories, I just want to do a real quick review. I have a list here of my main 5 weird things. Why did it take him over an hour and a half to travel 15 to 20 minutes? Why did he think he was past Marshall near Lind? This doesn't make sense for 2 reasons. Why would he think he had driven over 30 miles when he had driven around 13? And why would he have wanted to go past his home, where he was headed, to drive towards Lind? Were all 4 of his car doors wide open? If so, why? Why wasn't he wearing his glasses? And his phone kept receiving calls and did not actually start going straight to voicemail well into the next day, almost 12 hours later. Weird.
All of it is weird, yeah.
Those are my 5 weirdest things. Theory number 1, Brandon Swanson drowned. This is one of the top theories supported online, but I, and Brandon's mother Annette, don't agree with this consensus. Basically, the theory is that while walking toward whatever he thought was Lind, Brandon fell into the Yellow Medicine River, or one of its branches, and drowned. I
don't believe that either.
Why don't you believe it?
The phone, the phone call with the dad, you would have heard something, right? The scent went over, right? Yeah, those are basically all my reasons. The theory is supported by the fact that Brandon said in the phone with his parents that he could hear running water. However, there are a few reasons the police, Brandon's family, and I don't agree with this theory. First of all, yes, the scent dogs trailed Brandon's scent into the river, but they also trailed it out and away from the river. Search rescue experts also say that the search in the river was very, very, very well done, and the chances that Brandon is still in that river or one of its branches are extremely low, and the chances that Brandon's body had been swept away past where they put the gates down to prevent that was also very, very low. It's not impossible, but it's not likely. But yeah, it makes more sense that it wouldn't be. Yes, it makes much more sense than it wouldn't be. The third reason I don't agree with this theory, and doesn't seem to be brought up very often, like, I think I'm the only person that cares about this, and you brought it up, thank God. His phone was never found. We do know that his phone did not die.
It did not get wet and stop working. It was on and usable, actively ringing when called for 12 hours after Brandon's final oh shit. Then, after 12 hours, something happened, presumably the phone died, and the phone began going straight to voicemail. No ringing. If the phone had fallen to the water, it would have started going to voicemail right away. On top of that, when Brandon made his exclamation and Brian and Annette were calling out to their son, it didn't sound weird or underwater, and they couldn't hear any water over the phone like they would if the phone had fallen on the riverbank if it felt close enough.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, no scent dogs nor the many land searchers ever found the phone. And I totally agree, like, they missed some stuff on the land, but they searched those riverbanks, like, a lot. So if something had fallen there...
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And then on my list of the 5 weird things, this theory explains none of them.
Okay.
Theory number 2, hypothermia. This is the theory that Brandon did fall in the river, but he also got out, just like the dog smelled. The night that Brandon went missing, it was 40 degrees with wind and getting colder. I have no idea what was supposed to have happened to his phone in this theory. If it were with him, he would have used it. If it goes in the water.
Is this your theories?
These are like online consensus theories.
Okay.
That I gathered over many.
And you don't believe this one, or do you believe this one?
So the first one, I don't really believe at all. This one, I think... my main theories are theory 3 and theory 5.
Okay.
This is theory 2.
Okay.
There's 6 theories. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I want to hear it.
Okay. So the dog smelled him getting out. He got out. It was cold. He was wet. Don't know where his phone's supposed to be at this point, but whatever. He continued to move towards what he thought was land. Okay. Which, by the way, there's some theories over what he could have been going towards. There's like a weather light available somewhere. Some are like you can kind of visibly see it. Some people think maybe he saw a house.
Huh. No
one really knows for sure what he was walking towards or what he thought was land. Because there are a few options that it could have been.
Yeah. Could have been like the next... No, because he went through the fields, right? He didn't go continue the road. So it wouldn't be one of the other cities that are like around.
It could have been because he wasn't on the highway. He was on a weird back road.
Okay.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trying to avoid cops is what people say.
Yes, but it doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the theory is that he fell in, got out, and then continued to move, and continued trying to find some kind of shelter, a hiding spot to warm up, and like fell asleep, passed away. I do have a bit more to say on this theory, but it kind of combines with theory number 3. So I'm gonna go to theory number 3.
Okay.
But this theory does answer 0 out of 5 things on my weird things list. So theory number 3, Brandon Swanson was killed by a farmer. So we technically have 2 options under this theory. The 2 ways theorize that Brandon could have been killed by a farmer. The first is that either in their field or coming to their home for help, a farmer, for whatever reason, whether it be good old American paranoia, or they were up to something illegal on the farm, that they shot and killed Brandon and hid the evidence. I don't think this is super likely. It's not impossible. There's literally someone who was shot and killed for pulling into the wrong driveway while delivering DoorDash just a few months ago.
Oh, wow.
It's possible, but I don't think it's likely.
Do they solve one of the 5? It solves like the missing.
This one answers 0 out of the 5 weird things.
0? Oh shit. Okay.
See, no one really even has any idea what the fuck, why those things happened.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, I'm thinking about it, I can't even...
Only one theory answers them, and it's a bullshit theory.
All 5? Oh shit, I want to hear it. Like aliens or something?
I don't have aliens on here, but that should always be a theory.
Okay.
I mean, some people do think that he was abducted by aliens. I just don't.
Hey, it makes more sense than these other ones. Isn't that weird?
I'm honestly at that point. The second way a farmer could be responsible for Brandon's death, or at least his disappearance, combines with theory number 2. Well, it is possible that Brandon found somewhere to hide while he passed out from hypothermia. It is entirely possible that somewhere was a farming field. People theorize that Brandon could have passed out in a field or had already died and been ran over with farm equipment. This theory doesn't require that Brandon fell into the river beforehand. Another possibility is that Brandon did fall when he exclaimed and hit his head, knocking himself out, or worse. No matter how, basically the theory is that he ended up either dead or passed out in a field somewhere. A farm did what farmers do, farming, and they ran over them with their equipment. Which just happened. Like, people die that way shockingly frequently. From falling to being drunk asleep in a field to being a hiding kid. It's happened like several times a year.
Really? That's...
Throughout the world, yeah.
Wow.
However, he may have ended up in a field. There are a few reasons a farmer may not want to step forward about this. Wanting to protect his income, both with the equipment in the field, possible illegal activity on the farm, or a general distrust of law enforcement.
Yeah.
Either way, this theory is supported by the fact that bloodhounds picked up a trace at a private farm and even hit at the piece of machinery, like I said earlier, and the farmer wouldn't allow a search. However, most of the fields in the area had been planted prior to the night Brandon went missing, but not all of them. Like I said, this theory explains 0 out of the 5 weird things I noticed.
Okay.
Theory number 4, Brandon Swanson purposefully disappeared. In my humble opinion, this theory is stupid.
Okay.
He loved his family misses him. Not only is this theory not backed by literally any evidence, but I think it's disrespectful to his family, and it's pretty much exclusively peddled by people online with, like, clickbait titles, like, TikTok, like, look at my YouTube video on my TikTok and click on this. Well, this crazy guy, did he do this on purpose? But, like, it's not really considered a very good theory.
Okay.
However, horrifically, this is the one and only singular theory that would explain all 5 things on my weird things list.
Oh.
Give or take the glasses in the car. If he was going missing, or if he chose to disappear, that still doesn't really make sense.
Give or take. Okay, go ahead.
But the 4 of them, it completely explains.
It does?
Where his phone go? He has it.
Well, I can't even explain one, so.
Where did he lie about where he was? Because he was wanting to go missing on purpose.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Why did he drive? Why did he think he was that far away when he had only driven a little bit? Because he was lying on purpose. Yeah.
That's your theory?
That's the theory.
I see. I understand. I see how that would make sense.
I misspoke earlier. It's theory number 3 and theory number 6 that I believe.
Okay.
Theory number 5 is that Brandon got into a car and left the area, most likely was murdered. This theory goes off the fact that scenthounds traced Brandon's scent through the river, up the bank, into a road where it stopped abruptly. The theory that it stopped so abruptly as Brandon had gotten into someone's vehicle and was taken away.
Mm-hmm.
There would be no way to know for sure what happened to Brandon then, or what happened to his phone in this theory, but the implication is that Brandon was murdered and disposed of elsewhere. Why? No idea. An empty back road in the middle of the night in the middle of the country is a weird place to look for people to kill, in my opinion. You're probably not going to find anyone. But if you do, I mean, hey, you have a good opportunity. This one also doesn't explain any of the things on the list of weird things, except for maybe the car doors. I think you could make an argument that Brandon brought them back to the vehicle. That's when they, like, knocked him out and searched his vehicle or something.
They looted it or something?
Yeah.
Was there any, like, evidence of looting in the car?
They don't explain, like, for example, his glasses in the car. They don't say if it's, like, on the something or, like, a skew. Because that could explain, like, if someone attacked him. But he was on the phone with his parents when he left the car. But if they had come back and attacked him, his glasses being askew versus set somewhere would matter. But it's never specified.
Maybe he came back and the glasses were set in the car.
I don't know.
Huh.
They don't specify. Woo!
There's a lot of gray area in this.
Yes, literally, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, our final theory. Theory number 6, Brandon fell into an old well.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, not very glamorous.
Okay.
It's something that happens. It's extremely important for old wells to be covered, but things happen and people fall and die in old wells surprisingly often. At least more often than I thought, personally.
Mm-hmm.
There's wells that are only, like, they're not like the big up, like, ones that you usually see. It's, like, usually a couple of feet, like, think cave diving.
Oh, really?
Nutty Putty incident type vibes.
Oh.
And they often can't be seen until, like, you're literally on top of them. Because of the overgrowth, it just looks like a more solid ground with grass on it.
Just like a hole in the ground?
Yeah.
Kind of? Oh.
Think, like, also Vietnam vibes. Like, Vietnam War.
Oh, like the tunnels that they made?
Yeah, the traps. Literally like that, except it's just like that.
Okay.
So this theory does explain what happened to Brandon's phone, as he could have dropped it next to the well as he fell down, and it'd be a lot harder to find just the singular phone in the tiny hidden hole, and he couldn't exactly answer it from the bottom of the well.
Yeah.
If he didn't die just from the impact.
Damn.
So that explains 1 of 5 on the weird things list. This is made even more likely when taking into account how dark it was and the fact that Brandon had left his glasses inside his vehicle. And there are a lot of wells in that area.
Yeah, but wouldn't a dog be able to get there?
You would think that they would find the trail, but what if they didn't? That's literally all the theories.
This case is not satisfying at all.
No, it's the opposite. It literally drives me insane.
Yeah.
I will reiterate real quick the 5 weird things that just aren't answered at all. Why did it take him over an hour and a half to get 15 to 20 minutes from where he started?
Yeah.
Why did he think he was past Marshall? It wouldn't have made any sense with how long or far he had driven, and why would he pass his own town while trying to go home? Were all 4 of his car doors open? If so, why? Why wasn't he wearing his glasses? And what happened to his phone that it was still receiving calls for 12 hours but no answer?
For 12 hours?
It was 12 hours, almost little over 12 hours later.
Wow.
That his phone started going straight to voicemail.
That's a crazy one.
What the fuck?
I've heard about this case before.
But I've only known like surface material. Like I've seen
Yes.
a TikTok on it, but like I didn't know it went this like.
That's what I was telling you. I was
So
like, I don't care if
far.
you've heard it before. I'm going deep. I have the details.
Yeah, no.
I almost just made this a Ramsey deep dive.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna talk.
I was about to be cut out of this episode.
Literally, this is the Ramsey show.
Wow. I'm just gonna be thinking about that all the time.
I hope so. I hope you guys think about it too. And then one of the best people with it stuck in our head will hear something or say something important.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna come to light at some point.
See, the thing is, I feel like it might have been a natural death and not a murderous one. And I think murder is way more likely to come to light.
Oh yeah, because people can be sloppy, you know.
Yeah,
Can
people
be-
make mistakes.
and
Make
stuff.
sure it doesn't. I mean, it'll just wipe that shit away.
Yeah, it's just done.
All right, so moving on from Ramsey's case, we're going into the last one. This is mine. This is a more recent case. It was in 2023.
That's very recent.
Yeah, October 2023, so end of the year kind of thing. So this is the case of Nancy Ning. Nancy Ning was a 29-year-old school assistant from Montreal Park, California. She loved yoga, traveling, and hiking with her family. She was dedicated to her work with special needs students and had a close-knit bond with her family. In October 2023, she embarked on what was supposed to be a peaceful yoga retreat in Guatemala. Instead, she vanished without a trace.
That would suck.
Nancy had previously attended the same retreat and felt comfortable with the group. On October 14th, she arrived at Lake Atitlan, a breathtaking volcanic crater lake known for its beauty and depth. 5 days later, she was gone. So on October 19th, Nancy was last seen kayaking on the lake. Her family received a call from the retreat organizer, Eddie Ramada, who informed them that she had disappeared while out on the water. Panic set in as search efforts began. Helicopters, boats, teams, and everything was looking for her for days in this lake, but there was no sign of Nancy. The vastness of this water made the search nearly impossible, and the lack of information from those present only deepened the mystery.
Why weren't they cooperating?
That's the thing. This is like her yoga retreat group that she went to Guatemala with.
So
that
they
she
killed
has.
her. Like, I know that, like, it's... I don't know,
it
maybe
just-
that's not fair, but I feel like if someone's missing and you're not cooperating, it's fair to say,
It just makes. It's just so weird, isn't it?
what you doing?
So the last person that saw Nancy was Christina Blazik, a public defender from California. Weeks later, though,
So that's why she's not saying shit. She's a public defender.
yeah,
She's a
and
lawyer.
plus she was in Guatemala. She might have been like hesitant of speaking out of like any kind of crime there because she
Yeah.
could have been prosecuted in Guatemala or something like just a different country in general from
Mhm.
where you're from, I
Okay,
guess.
yeah,
But
it is scarier.
there's no way. I'm not defending anything. I'm just saying, theorizing. You know.
Okay.
So weeks later, through a lawyer, Blasik claimed that Nancy had ignored warnings about dangerous water conditions and jumped in anyway. She insisted she had tried to help but lost sight of Nancy beneath the surface. However, inconsistencies and delays in Blasik's statements raised questions.
I would say that's kind of convenient.
Yeah, and she didn't even say herself. It was through her lawyer that this was said.
So they had a little planning party.
Yeah, exactly. So she went back. She took like a month, and then she said something
A
about it.
month for that? No, that's ridiculous.
Let's see. Nancy's family was left with more confusion than answers. Witnesses were silent, and the entire retreat group left Guatemala just hours after Nancy went missing. The kayak rental company later reported that they had left without even paying. Suspicions grew. Some speculated that drugs may have been involved. Others questioned whether foul play was at hand. Adding to the uncertainty, reports surfaced that Nancy's room had been ransacked. The family of Nancy desperately tried to piece things together of what happened, you know?
Yeah.
So they created...
Why was her room ransacked? That's super weird.
I know, so weird. So there's a timeline just to make sure that everybody's understanding and following.
Mm.
A timeline of events painted a troubling picture. So on October 14th, Nancy arrived in Guatemala. October 19th, she goes kayaking with a group. Later that day, Blasik reports her missing. On October 20th, the retreat group leaves Guatemala, like instantly. October 21st, the first air search is performed. October 25th and 31st, the family of Nancy reaches out to Blasik with no response. She didn't want to say nothing. Then
Okay.
November 13th, a month later, Blasik is named in a news released by the aerial search company. Then November 14th, she finally makes a statement through her attorney. Isn't this like super suspicious?
I mean, she has to have seen something.
No, definitely.
I didn't even consider that it was like something she was scared to talk about.
Yeah.
Until you said that, I was just assuming she did it, but that would make a lot of sense too.
That she would be scared to speak out of it.
Why do people think drugs were involved other than them just being like, drugs were involved?
I guess that's like something that could always be the case.
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
so just guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like a scapegoat kind of reasoning, you know?
Throwing spaghetti and what sticks.
Further investigation revealed allegations of a police bribe. Nancy's family, after hiring a local attorney, suspected that a payment had been made to prevent Blasek from being detained or given a formal statement.
Yeah.
Blasek's lawyers denied any wrongdoing, claiming she left due to civil unrest in Guatemala. What is civil unrest?
Civil unrest is like the United States right now, kind of. We're ready to do something. When you went to Italy, there's a lot of civil unrest.
Oh, really?
The protesting?
Oh, I see. Okay.
They're shitting in the river.
That's France.
France, sorry. There's a lot of civil unrest when you went to France.
Yeah, I went to France during the Olympics and they were shitting in the pool. I mean, in the
public river.
Yeah, trying to like say that it wasn't adequate to swim in, and it was not. It was like super dirty, and swimmers had to like swim in it.
Those bitches got sick.
Yeah, they were vomiting and stuff. But anyways, the silence from the other retreat attendees remained troubling. Nancy's family continues to push for answers. They have hired specialized search teams, including those using underwater vehicles and cadaver dogs. Despite the challenges, they refuse to give up hope. Nancy's disappearance remains an open case, filled with unanswered questions. Was it truly an accident, or is there something more sinister beneath the surface of Lake Atitlan? Her family just wants the truth. Until then, they keep searching.
Man, that was recent too.
Yeah,
that's really fucked up.
I know. I saw another video about this, where somebody was talking about that the person that saw her last came up again, or like they were doing investigations in Guatemala, and then somebody had like some information on it, and they said that the last person that saw her, they were saying that she was saying that Nancy got thrown off the kayak by accident, but in her story she was saying that she jumped willingly, and she was telling her to like, no, oh no, don't do that.
That would make sense. I mean, at that point, just take the L until the family can get closure. Shit happens. It was an accident. This family needs to know.
I'm not saying that that's what she did, but like, if you do see something like that, how could you like really live with that, you know, and not speak out on it, or like holding information about something so important like that?
Cases like these, you know, there's always the possibility of a deathbed confession, but that's also fucked up because like her parents are gonna be gone.
Yeah.
By the time if there was a deathbed confession.
It's just so messed up. There is a GoFundMe for their family right now. We're gonna link that in the bio.
In the summary below. All these cases and stuff, their GoFundMes, and anything you want to know will be linked below.
Yeah. Her GoFundMe goes for rescue efforts and for family support. Just anything you can give.
Well, Brandon Swanson's gonna bug me forever.
Brandon Swanson? Oh yeah.
I really hope that at some point in some episode we are updating you about Brandon Swanson, about some information.
I wish, no,
all of them.
I sure hope that some new information comes up with all these cases that we spoke of today, and that we will be able to
a full update episode with all the answers would be just amazing.
Yeah, if
so
anything comes up,
families would be so happy.
Imagine that. I would be so happy. Imagine the families.
The other day I was driving home, and was when we were in the tiny rental, and we drove past one of our neighbors, and it was like 11:30, and like in the morning, and he had pizza, and he was like bringing his pizza in, and I got so happy for him for some reason. I'm like, he has pizza, he's gonna have a good day. It's pizza for lunch, not pizza for dinner. That's amazing.
11:30? Is that not breakfast?
I mean, it's like an early lunch.
Brunch.
Pizza for brunch. That's even better. I feel like I haven't had pizza during the day in so long.
Have you ever had breakfast pizza?
I love breakfast pizza.
I fucking hate breakfast pizza.
I'm a Midwesterner. Casey's breakfast pizza. I love it.
I hate living in this yee ass town. In this
We're the least yee town in like several states.
I know, right? But still, it's too far for me. I don't like it. Yeah, no, I hate breakfast pizza. I mean, I can eat it, but it's like against my will. It's like if it's the only thing to eat, that I'll eat it. But
okay, that's something.
Eggs on a pizza.
Because it's breakfast pizza.
It doesn't change anything.
It's just bread.
Bread on eggs.
Next week we are doing animal attacks.
Okay, next week we're talking about animal attacks, I guess.
Spooky ooky.
I'm excited. I have like one already prepared. Do you have one?
I have my topics picked out, but I don't have like the research done. But I already know a lot about the topics. Excuse me. Oh my god. I had 4 picked out.
4?
And
Damn.
I took one off because I was
okay.
I can talk a lot about all
Yeah,
of these.
clearly she can talk a lot.
This
as
was
we
all
already
one
saw.
topic.
Yeah,
it
and
was
this
the
is
longest Word document I've had, and it was my only single topic.
and this is edited, guys. I had to listen to the whole thing, so I'm just kidding.
We all
I
did.
enjoyed it. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you.
See you later.
ya.
Bye.